He has a diagnosis of anxiety, major depressive disorder, and PTSD, among other mental health issues, which you will soon find out about. As many know, those of us, like yours truly, who suffer from anxiety disorders, one of the traits is that socializing with others is problematic more often than not. Well, he has had a long and successful career in a profession that is pretty much, well, socializing with other people. He's been doing it for almost 20 years, and he is still at it to this day with great success. And we're about to meet him very shortly. Hey kids, straight talking Fedora Chic coming at you this evening. And I would like to take this opportunity to welcome my new subscribers. And if you're new here, we are a social commentary channel discussing mainly, but not exclusively, to mental health issues. I also do quite a few storytime videos about my own life experiences. If you're into this sort of thing, please subscribe and ring that little ringy dingy icon below so you can be notified every time I upload. Today's video is the third installment of employment and mental health and why it's problematic. I have already 2 uploads, and they're in the playlist in the info card above. As mentioned at the top of this video, I have a special guest who will be sharing his story about his own mental health issues and how he works around them at his job as a salesman. So let's get to it, shall we? This is the third installment of the series, Employment and Mental Health and Why It's Problematic. In this installment, we are interviewing Eric of Dr1ven Industries channel, so go check him out. Talks about mental health and addiction. He's very open about his life, and he is a successful RV salesman, I believe. You sell RVs?
Yeah, I used to run RV dealerships. I was a general sales manager for about 12 years. And now I'm on the rep side, so I actually sell RVs to dealerships now from Forest River.
We start by you talking a bit about yourself, mental health-wise, addiction, and then into your professional life.
Okay. I mean, for 19 years, pretty much, I've been in the same industry. So I've been in sales pretty much 19 years. I was diagnosed at right about 14 with ADD, later on switched to ADHD. I've been diagnosed with PTSD, been diagnosed with MDD, which is major depressive disorder, which is pretty much clinical depression, along with a couple different types of anxiety. Recovering addict. This month on the 25th will be 23 months sober. And lost a wife and a father to suicide. So I've always been in sales, always worked with people, but about a little over a year ago, I decided that I just, in my free time as a passion, I wanted to help other people. And so created a YouTube channel, created a company, and my big mission is just reaching out, because I'm not a big fan of hotlines, because I don't think that the hotlines necessarily give the resources as quickly and as abundantly as they could.
No, you're absolutely right. Here in Montreal, it is not much better, I'm afraid. You call and it's a busy signal or a recorded message. So try. Good luck getting a human. Your company is Dr1ven Industries, as it indicates on your shirt.
That is actually my company. I set it up because I wasn't sure how to even go about this. I just knew I wanted to help people, and I figured it'd be fun to start a company. So I went and got a business license and did a couple trademarks, and that was just out of the fun side of it. But my main part of it was to create a mental health community that was an actual real-time response. Because after losing my dad to suicide, I started really looking into what services are out there more, because my dad was a little bit of a unique situation because he was a doctor. And so I wanted to see what else was really out there. And so when the first time I called the suicide hotline and I realized how long it took for me to get a hold of somebody, I was shocked. And I thought it was going to be like calling 911. Next thing you know, I'm on hold and I'm going, wait a minute, if I'm there at that place mentally, I'm not going to be on the phone for even a couple minutes waiting for a human being to pick up.
So basically what Dr1ven Industries is to help people in crisis get through to somebody faster than, say, a traditional suicide hotline.
Exactly. And to find out about NAMI, and it was Dr1ven Industries because we were all driven by something in life. You know, whether it's with people with their family or if they're driven by love or if they're driven by friendship. Well, I was driven by awareness. And so that's where the whole Dr1ven came up with. And there's a one in it because it starts with us. It just starts with one person and it can grow from there.
Very catchy. Very okay. So have you always worked in sales, or did you do something else before?
No, I always worked in sales. Because of ADHD and just the no desire to really go to school, I dropped out of college. I had a full ride scholarship to college. I mean, I had the intelligence, I had the grade point, just I didn't want to do it. Like I couldn't do it. Like it was not something I was excited at all about. But I knew I had to make money somehow, and I found out I was really good at talking with people. So I got into sales, realized that I could make a really good living doing it, and I just started studying people, studying sales, and became really good at it.
That is excellent. You know, sales, I've always felt it's something you're born with. It's not really something you learn. I know I can't do it, so.
I think people would say when it comes to sales, they freak out because there's such a stereotype around salesmen and what sales really is like. And a lot of the salesmen I know are amazing people, and believe it or not, the customers are usually the horrible people that you run into. Nobody will lie to you more than what a customer will lie to you, or feed you lies, or false promises. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I can believe that. I actually have a friend who works in customer service. And does a bit of so he's dealing with dealers too, not RV, something completely different. And he tells me all the time about customers who are trying to pull a fast one on him. They think that they still have a warranty. The warranty is still good, even though they've had the thing for about 5 years. When warranty is not.
Everybody wants something for free.
Oh, God, yeah. So I guess it's no different. It works both ways. Okay, so you said you used to manage, you used to be a sales manager, so that was more in the office, I imagine.
Rather than on the road. This is completely new for me. I've never been on the rep side. I've always ran dealerships, or departments in dealerships. So I've always had an office that I would usually go to. I always had a sales staff anywhere from 10 to 50 that I would oversee. And so this one's a little bit more unique, but I enjoyed it. It was something different that I wanted to do.
Okay, so you always so back to, you said you always managed RV dealerships, the sales side of things. What made you change from management to going on the road as a rep?
Time to be able to actually help other people. Because I'm on the road, a lot of times I'm not able to talk to dealers or necessarily any of that because I'm driving. So it allows me actually to talk to other people, allows me to be a little bit more readily available. So it's kind of a mixture. I got burnt out on the dealership side of running dealerships because it is a lot of babysitting. I mean, even though you're working with grown adults, I mean, a lot of salesmen are like kids.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of a challenge, and I wanted something new. I wanted something that would spark my love of sales again.
Okay, have you ever had issues with your colleagues, like assuming they know about your situation? Have you ever had issues with ostracization, bullying?
Believe it or not, no. And I thought about my YouTube channel, all this. When I first started it, I wasn't. I wasn't very open at all. When I was in this industry, everybody knew about my wife committing suicide in 2015. I wasn't open about addiction though, or anything at all. And the industry that I'm in on this side, especially, I mean, drinking is actually a part of this industry. I mean,
oh, really?
You're dealing with business owners, you're dealing with people that own these very large dealerships, and well, they like to go out and have a nice meal and have some drinks. And when I got hired on to doing this, that was their only concern was, hey, you're a recovering addict. Do you mind being around people drinking? It was like, no, I have no issue with that.
Okay.
But I'm very open. Everybody knows pretty much in this industry. It's a very big industry, but very small. And pretty much everybody knows my story. In fact, I have a lot of different reps and even owners that follow me on YouTube and on Twitter and on Facebook. And so they're aware of it. And I'm open. I've had actually people in this industry refer me other people,
wow.
or help them get into NA, and different things like that.
This level, you would be fortunate, considered fortunate, and in that respect, professionally, you do garner the respect of your colleagues.
It was one of those that it was more in my head that I thought it was going to be worse than what it was. That's why I started everything on Twitter, because I didn't know anyone on Twitter. I started everything there and then slowly merged it all over. And I thought there would be a lot of backlash. I thought there would be a lot of issues that would come up about it, and instead it was all the opposite. But yeah, my head the whole time kept telling me, no, this is not going to go over good. You don't want to share this with people that know you. Right, absolutely.
A lot of different people. Have you had trouble with absenteeism? Would you have to explain why you're absent, if you're absent more than your other colleagues?
No, because it doesn't make me absent from work. I'll be there physically. Sometimes I'm not there mentally. The PTSD, my PTSD trigger, because I'm very open, and I think especially lately, a lot of people confuse PTSD with being offended. What I mean by that is I see these people all the time that somebody will say something, they're like, oh my God, I'm triggered. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, there are certain times like I might read something that's disturbing, but like for me, my trigger is smell. The smell of blood is my trigger. And that is because when my dad took his life, I had to go through his car afterwards. And there's a lot of blood, and it had sat there for a couple days, and blood has a mineral smell to it. When I smell that, that is my trigger. And people don't realize that triggers are touch, noises, smells. It's not just words that you might read. So I'm very careful, or I'll explain in great detail when it comes down to my PTSD and how it works, because I've noticed that it starts to get more of a stigma of, oh, I read this and I'm offended, I'm triggered. And for somebody with PTSD, it's very frustrating when you see that, because it's like, okay, you don't understand. Like in the US, when we have 4th of July, veterans can get signs that say, hey, a veteran lives here, please be careful with your fireworks. A lot of them have issues when it comes to the noises. It gives them the flashbacks or what have you of wartime. So PTSD never really stopped me from going to work. The depression, very, very rarely. When it does hit hard, I make sure that I do a lot with my doctor. But the thing that overrides it all is if I don't work, I don't have a home.
No, of course.
So I will force myself through it. Now I might have a mental breakdown when I'm done with work, but at work I will hold it together. The hardest and most difficult one actually is the ADHD. Because if I don't take Adderall that day, I'll be present at work, but I'm not really mentally present at work because I'm not getting done anything. Like I might start a bunch of different things, but I can't accomplish, anything that day. It feels like I'm just spinning my wheels, and then I get very frustrated and I'll get angry because I can't convey my frustration and I can't understand why I can't focus on something. So that's actually the one that's actually the hardest for me to deal with when I work.
The ADHD.
I mean, the anxiety and stuff when it comes to work, I think it's just because of 19 years in this business. When I throw on my work clothes, it's almost like you put on like a different outfit, in the sense that your brain switches over to I'm in work mode. Because when I'm in work mode, I can go talk to anybody, anytime, anyhow, no problem at all. I take those off though, and I'm not in my work mentality. It's a completely different story.
Okay. So it's almost like you're playing a role when you're at work, when you're talking to a client or you're visiting a client.
Right. And I mean, even like when I'm at home and I really want to get a lot of work done, I will put my work clothes on and work out of my house until I'm done. And then I'll switch back over to my t-shirt and my Dickies and stuff.
Oh, really?
Because it will mentally put me in a different place.
That's interesting. So you actually put on the company polo shirt that We've
Oh
seen.
yeah, my company shirt, my dress pants, or I'll wear shorts at times, but I will dress as though I'm going to work. No, when I work out at home, I mean, I will wear my work clothes so that it changes my mentality, so I get as much production done at home as I can work wise, and then when it's over with, I'll change back into my normal clothes, then go into, okay, I got to do chores, I got to do this, and get my change of my thought process differently. It's kind of weird how it works. I think a lot of it just how your brain works after 19 years of continually doing this. That you put dress slacks on, you put a polo on, or you put a dress shirt on, you go into work mode, you take that off, and mentally you're like, okay, I'm not at work, and it just changes.
That you found something that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
What would you have to say to somebody who cannot get into that mind frame of work because of their own mental health issues?
It's a tricky one. It's trying to find a job that's more of a passion that at least excites you to go to. That's part of the thing that I got lucky with sales. I truly love sales. I love everything about sales. I love the psychology of sales. I love the interaction. I love the addiction personalities. Addicts are very good salesmen just in general. I used to hire a lot of addicts because why? Addicts know how to manipulate, they know how to talk, they know how to get their way, just like they do in sales. Recovered addicts are the best salesmen in the world because now they're sober. They're not doing it maliciously, but they still know how to talk to people. They know how to get their way. They know how to be very convincing. And so it's finding something that you're passionate about and that gives you that joy in life. Because I can tell you right now, like if I was doing an accounting job or something like that, my mindset would be just completely screwed up. And I wouldn't probably make it into work because there's zero joy out of it. I'm already fighting a battle in my head. I already have my bad days that I wake up to, and then to go do something that I don't remotely at all enjoy, yeah, probably not going to happen.
So I would say the majority of Americans and Canadians too, actually, really dislike their jobs, but they go because they have to pay the bills, right?
Right.
And I think for people like that, if they have issues like anxiety or PTSD or depression attached, it would just exacerbate further. And then hence the absences or even long stints on disability, benefits of any stripe. So you found something that you enjoy, that you're good at, and you're passionate. And this is the other thing I always was intrigued by you, was because a lot of us with anxiety, as you know, a major part of it is social situations. You as a salesman, that's basically what you do. You are socializing. You're socializing with dealers, clients on a regular basis. And I would have thought that the anxiety for you would have been the most difficult to deal with as pertaining to sales, as opposed to your ADHD.
Yeah, no, the anxiety never really became much of an issue. Now, the anxiety when I'm not doing it, because I used to self-medicate with alcohol all day long. So I never had anxiety after work either. So after work, I could go out and do things and stuff. And I will find now that once I'm done working, like I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to people. I don't want to be around people. I've pulled up to stores before, and if there's too many people, I will find a reason in my head not to stop there, and I will drive my ass back home. And it's really weird how it works, because if it was part of my job and it required me during my work day to go in there, I have no problem going in there. I don't like to leave the house, but even then I'm in like when I'm at work, and I will like visit my dealerships, I'll do my training and stuff with the salesman or work a show. And as soon as that's done though, I go back to my hotel room. That's why you notice like a lot of my videos, you can tell when I'm on the road because I'm in a hotel room. Like I will sit in a hotel room, not leave for, like, say I get back to my hotel room at like 5 o'clock. I won't leave until the next morning when it's time for me to go back and work. So, I mean, that's kind of how it really is. It's a little bit of a struggle. I do force myself to go out sometimes, but like I've run into other reps and they're like, hey, you should go check this place out or check this place out when you're in this town. And I'm like, no, not really. I zero desire to do that.
Understandable. It's the same way for me. How often do I get told you need to get out more often? Yeah.
Oh yeah, you need to get out more often. You need to be happier. Be grateful for what you have. I don't know why you're depressed.
Yeah, I know. I've heard it all before, but with this particular series with employment, it's especially like I said, the stigma attached, and that's why this became very important to me to do this series. So.
Oh, I get it.
That's why I'm doing it, you know.
I love it.
That's why I'm doing it. Real voices, real faces.
Well, that's where a lot of people like they don't understand, and people don't get. I mean, 1 in 4 people do struggle with mental illness.
In the
It's
United States?
in the United States, 1 in 4. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death. For males, it's the #1 leading cause of death. The age is 25 to 45. And so there is a lot of mental illness out there. I think a lot of people do still work because they kind of have to.
Mm.
And I do have ran into other individuals though that they don't work. They are on disability, and it's not. People get the misconception that if somebody's on disability for mental illness reasons
Mm-hmm.
is not the same as being on government welfare.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, I've noticed that people with mental illness, they want to work, like they wish they could work.
Yeah,
But
I got them too.
more or less, though, I also noticed that it's with sometimes stronger diagnoses, though, that it's a little bit more difficult for them if they struggle with bipolar or schizophrenia, that sometimes it is more of a challenge. Because I've never really ran into anybody, because I'm very vocal, and over the past year, I've talked to probably well over 1,000 different people. I haven't ran into anyone that had ADHD that didn't work. I haven't ran into anyone with PTSD really that hasn't worked unless they're a little bit older and it's gotten a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was a traumatic experience at a job place that created the PTSD or violence at the job place. But a majority of everybody wants to work. So it's not like people are just freeloading off the system of, oh, I'm depressed, I'm not going to work.
I know. And that is the thing that pisses me off the most. I mean, the most common thing I get, you look so young to be retired. That's like, oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Do I really have to explain this again? It's
Oh yeah, no, and I totally get it. And that's where people don't really understand it. It's even the same when it comes to, and it still is kind of society. I mean, it comes to, I'm very vocal even about it's okay to take meds, and it's all trial and error, and it's trial and error with your doctor, because what works for me might not work for you. It's just don't give up trying. And there's even people out there though that'll stop their meds because they're shamed by family members or people that they know that they shouldn't be on medication, and just change your diet and change your exercise. Well, I diet, I exercise, I meditate, I walk. I'm outside walking my dog every morning, and you know what? That doesn't fix my ADHD. It's amazing how that works. It does nothing for my brain when it comes to cancer are coming out of your skin, and I can feel my heartbeat, but I feel my heartbeat beating up in my throat and getting lightheaded, and yeah.
I know. How are your bosses? Do they treat you differently than other people, the other staff?
No, not at all.
Okay, like they don't have like higher expectations to make you meet a higher bar, but nor do they give you special treatment.
They don't. There's zero special treatment. Zero. I'm extremely competitive. I always have been. I was always big into sports. So if I'm going to do something, I'm going to be the best, and that's just how I am. So it doesn't. I've never had any issues when it's come to bosses on that. I know what the numbers are that I have to hit, and I'll far and exceed those. I'm part of what helps me. I mean, I do a lot of affirmations. I do a lot of goal setting because I need to brainwash myself a lot of times to remember that it is okay and that I can do this, because there does creep in a lot of self-doubt. I mean, I've worked straight commission my entire life, pretty much since 20 years old.
My next question, if you were working strictly on commission, or did you have a base salary to go along with it?
Oh no, I've worked straight commission pretty much my entire life, but also in that time I've never dropped below 6 figures in income. But that's because I know how to set my goals. I know how to push myself. I know what I need to do. I'm my worst own critic. If I'm not excelling at what I need to do, I get with my doctor. I find out what's going on. Do I need to switch up some medication? What might be happening? To make sure that I get myself back on track, because I mean, I've just been so wired, because I moved out of my parents' house when I was 18. I've just been wired that it's on me. I have to succeed. It
has worked very well for you. Doesn't work for everybody, particularly.
No, it doesn't work for everybody. I don't suggest like everybody go out and get a straight commission job and get into sales.
No.
Hey, I'm going to do this, and it's just me, and I'm going to take on the world. I mean, this is something that I just luckily groomed my own self into. And a lot of it was due to my upbringing, because I came from a very successful family. I mean, my brother owns a company in Michigan that does a lot with construction. My dad was a doctor. I mean, I'm the only non-college graduate. So
Okay.
I got a lot of crap handed to me for, not going to be as successful as everybody else. So it became like a vindictive, anger driven, fueled, okay, I'm going to show all you guys. Mm-hmm.
Do you ever feel stressed about being on a straight commission job?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's just, I'm used to that. That's part of life for me.
Okay. Even when you were the manager, you were still on straight commission.
Oh yeah, I was paid on the profit of the store.
Is there anything you would like to add before we complete this interview?
No, I just, anybody that's out there struggling, that it's okay to be not okay, just because some people can do it and I've found ways to work through it doesn't mean that everybody can. And other people that also have worked through it, that's where that non-judgment, even as ourselves, of being somebody that does struggle, we don't have the right to judge other people that struggle with the same things we do, that aren't able to do it. Maybe we found different coping mechanisms or whatever, because again, it comes down to we're all different. And I know people with MDD that don't work, and I understand why. I get why. My coping mechanisms are different than theirs. They work for me for whatever reason, they don't work for them. My self-maintenance works for me, doesn't work for them necessarily. And everybody's different, and it's okay.
Is excellent advice, because that's the other thing that the public seems to think everybody with depression is attached in this group, and the anxiety people in this group, and the BPD in that group, and it is not. And I think the mental health care industry, at least here in Montreal anyway, I can't speak for the United States or anywhere else, they seem to believe in this cookie cutter model that is one size fits all. And the same would apply for work, any work situation for them. It's a one size fits all. And they could be mechanisms. And in your case, this all allows you, including your past experience as an addict, has allowed you to be successful. And
Right.
so, but not everybody is like that.
Exactly.
It was great having you with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It was a really awesome talking to you.
You too.
A lot of fun.
Well, hey, you have a beautiful rest of the day.
You too. Thanks so much.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Well, boys and girls, there you have it. My very first interview for the series Mental Health and Employment and Why It's Problematic. Eric, aka Dr1ven Industries. And I hope you enjoyed this. Do check out his channel, Dr1ven, that's Dr1ven Industries. Yeah. So, that's going to do it for now. Please take care of yourselves and each other. And remember, if there is somebody vulnerable in your midst, please do take the time to check on them. Sometimes having a dinner or a coffee or just lending a sympathetic ear can make all the difference in the world to that person. Straight talking Fedora Chick, over and out. Bye. See you in the next one.